Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's episode, I'm going to step back a little bit and talk about the concept of media and how it affects anime, okay? Now, basically, in the earlier days of anime, and before the days of the internet, the only way that you could really get anime is you basically have to basically transport the anime on some kind of media, because unlike today where you can go online and stream it, you can download it, you can torrent it, you can do all these different various ways of using the internet and digitally get the anime to you. But obviously in the era before internet, before the computers were fast enough, before the internet was fast enough, before we had massive amount of data storage on hard drives and that kind of stuff, you couldn't do this. Okay, you actually had to get a physical type of media. Okay, so in today's episode, I want to cover some of the types of media that was available in the earlier days of anime, and then basically how technology has changed, and then basically how that has affected the anime. Okay, so one of the ways that a lot of people got anime, especially in the very beginning, even when I got started in anime back in the 1986 and that sort of era, is what's now commonly known as the videotape. Okay, and basically, as you know, the videotape is an audio recorded media, sort of a physical magnetic tape, which basically both the audio and the video is stored. And this particular one just happens to be one of the rental tapes for the bookstore, Awase bookstore, and this happens to be an episode of Hey Hey Music Champ, features Sharon Q and SMAP and a few other various artists like that in a particular awards show. Okay. And so basically, this would go into like a VHS, video recorder, and basically somebody in Japan had to basically, sit there with the TV going on and pressing record on the video cassette recorder and recording this program called Hey Music Champ, and it's the award program, and then basically after he's got it recorded, he'd basically pop it into some sort of delivery service like the mail or whatever. Or in the case of Awase, they probably put it into a large container, and they basically shipped it over here to North America, where we were able to now take it and put it into a corresponding VHS type player, and then basically play out the video. Okay, so again, the recording of that TV show or whatnot had to be basically put onto a tape and then brought over here. Okay, as time gone on, they basically built a slightly better system of recording and trying to keep the quality of the video good. They really finally ended up releasing anime on what's referred to as laser discs. So these are basically 12-inch discs, which basically hold the episodes of the various different types of anime and programming on there, and then basically you would, again, same way, these got released in Japan, and so basically someone would have to basically order it, and then some company like Awase Bookstore could then bring it over here, and then basically once I got it, I can then take it and put it into a Laserdisc player and then basically be able to play it back. Again, it requires the physical movement of a disc, okay, in this case from Japan to North America here, and then basically be able to put it into a machine that plays this particular format of disc, and then there you go, and that's how we get the anime. Okay, and then after the Laserdisc came out, then of course the newer system, which is something like this, which is the DVD. Okay, so this happens to be the North American release of Sam Mancall's Academy, and so basically again, same concept. Even though it is local, someone still has to manufacture a DVD disc, and then basically get that. You'd have to go out and purchase that DVD disc, or rent the DVD disc or whatever, and that take it home, put it into a DVD player, and then there's where you get your anime. So one of the things, when I went to the anime convention, Anime Revolution, one of the things that I've really noticed and have seen is that because of the technology that we now have with the internet and the speed and all this other stuff, resolution, of course, we no longer need a transport media to basically get the anime from Japan over to here. We can now use, the digital internet and basically digitally be able to stream, download, and whatnot the actual anime from Japan straight over here. Okay, now one of the things that caused the downfall or the crash of anime back in the 2004 is this advent of digital technology. Okay, and because a lot of the marketing and the profits and that kind of stuff made comes from the sale of this media, this transport media. Because so basically, starting from the early days of anime, where anime came on video cassettes, the companies in Japan depended on people to basically buy their video cassettes or buy their laser discs or buy their DVDs in order to get the anime to them. So they're making not only money on the licensing and that kind of stuff for the anime itself, but they're also making some profits and that kind of stuff from the manufacturing process of the anime, the mastering, the actual videotape and the DVD, media itself. They're making money on that. So there's a whole chain of, money and profitability and basic return on income caused by this sale of the media or the transporting of this media where the anime's on. Okay, so suddenly in the new internet era, okay, we've removed this transport media. Okay, we don't need it anymore. So now the companies can no longer make money on that particular type of thing, and therefore this major source of revenue / cash flow is now gone. So a lot of these companies that basically rode that wave of prosperity through the golden era of anime and through the increase or influx of anime, now are all of a sudden suffering because now all of a sudden that source of income, those sales from laserdiscs and DVDs have now all disappeared. They're dried up. They're gone. No one's buying these DVDs. No one's buying these discs anymore. Okay, and it was very apparent to me when I attended some local and recent conventions that the amount of media that's for sale, like even the DVDs and the CDs and that kind of stuff, they weren't really around. No one's really selling them. This whole new culture, this whole new industry surrounding the anime has emerged in its place. And unfortunately for the manufacturers and the licenses of the anime itself, these new cultures and these new industries don't help support the anime that's coming out. Okay, so I mentioned that a little bit, about the convention, but I just wanted to focus on in this episode how the removal of this media is how that is affecting sales and that kind of stuff and money that's coming in to support anime. And again, because it's not there anymore, the companies are going to have to come up with some other way or some other system of basically generating revenue from that. Of course, what you would want to do currently is if you're subscribing to any sort of subscription services like Crunchyroll and of course even things like Netflix and that kind of stuff. When you have those type of services and you're paying for that in the subscription, then some of that money that you are getting there is going towards the licensing of this anime and that kind of stuff that they have. Okay, but again, because of these changes and because of how the licenses and that kind of stuff work, maybe not as much money is generated or is made by these companies who basically are making the anime. Okay, so I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how what the companies can do to improve that. But again, as time goes on, they're gonna have to find some way to resolve this this new digital technology and whatnot, and how it affects anime. Because otherwise, eventually, what we're going to end up having is, I'm not going to say we're going to get to an era where we're not going to have any anime, but what's going to happen is that the anime that we get are going to be very, very, very streamlined, very, corporate. They only want to stick with animes that are guaranteed to make money, for sure to make money, has a track record or a history of making money, and they know that they've got an established fan base that will pay for this kind of stuff, and the accessories and the things that come with this particular anime. For example, Gundam, or Dragon Ball, or Sailor Moon. It's a very large franchise. If they keep making remakes and that kind of stuff, or making offshoots and that kind of stuff, they know that they've got a marketing wing and a structure that will make money for them. Okay, and just based on the name, or based off all the other things that come out with it. Whereas if you were going to come up with something very, very experimental, very niche, or very independent, if you will, you may not be able to get the financial backing for that. You may not be able to get the actual marketing back end to that, and you may not be able to get all the materials and the products to support these new type of animes. And of course, that's why they may fall to the wayside, or again not make enough money to support people, and thus artists and things like that kind of go on to do other things, and or sell the idea or the story to another venue or to another avenue. Let's say let's say video games, for example. Okay, so what holds in the future? Well, I don't know, but hopefully something we'll be able to arrange from that. But I just wanted to cover some of the history of how media and that stuff was very important in the basically the funding and the sale of anime, and how it basically progressed, and basically all this interest became part of how some of the newer animes were funded by some of the legwork done by some of the past animes, and some of the sales made from those animes. Okay, so what you want to do right now is you want to go down below here and click like and click subscribe, so that way we get notification of when those new episodes will come out. Okay, and I'm going to continue to talk about some other changes to anime from the past, as well as from the future. Okay, as they're coming out. So until next time, see you again.